Professional cleaning service should have been Ruby's new career, until she started discovering systematic evidence destruction in daily cleaning assignments. Forensic cleanup patterns, crime scene sanitization, organized operations. 12 years of police lab work couldn't be fooled. Before we dive into this incredible story, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if this story moves you, make sure to subscribe because tomorrow I have something very special planned for you. Sparkle Elite House Cleaning Services operated throughout Miami's upscale neighborhoods, its professional team and specialized equipment attracting busy professionals, elderly residents, and affluent families who valued thorough cleaning, reliable scheduling, and the kind of discretion that distinguished premium house cleaning from basic maintenance services. At 9:15 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, the company maintained the efficient operations that established cleaning services cultivated for clients who expected excellence and privacy. Technician Ruby Martinez had been working for the cleaning service for 8 months, ever since she transitioned from her demanding laboratory career to seek work that still utilized her attention to detail while offering more flexible scheduling and less emotional stress than her previous profession had provided. At 36, she'd found unexpected satisfaction in transforming dirty spaces into pristine environments while applying her systematic approach to problem solving in a more straightforward context. The service operated in exclusive residential areas, executive homes requiring weekly maintenance while owners traveled for business, elderly clients who needed assistance maintaining their properties, vacation homes that required preparation for seasonal occupancy, and various properties where residents valued professional cleaning that ensured both hygiene and privacy. Ruby approached every cleaning assignment with meticulous attention that supervisors attributed to exceptional work ethic and natural perfectionism about cleanliness standards. Her techniques were thorough, her time management was efficient, and her ability to handle challenging cleaning situations while maintaining client confidentiality had quickly established her as one of the company's most trusted employees. What supervisors and clients didn't realize was that Ruby's approach to analyzing stains, understanding how different substances interacted with various surfaces, and recognizing patterns in contamination and cleanup had been shaped by 12 years as a police forensic laboratory technician specializing in DNA analysis and crime scene evidence processing. Her law enforcement background had involved examining physical evidence from violent crimes, analyzing blood spatter patterns to understand criminal events, processing DNA samples that could identify perpetrators and victims, and understanding how criminals might attempt to destroy or alter physical evidence that could be used in prosecutions. Recognizing the difference between normal household contamination and evidence of criminal activity, understanding the specific techniques used to eliminate forensic evidence, and identifying systematic attempts to sanitize crime scenes were skills that had been central to her forensic laboratory work. During her first 6 months of house cleaning, Ruby had processed dozens of residential properties without her forensic training triggering any particular concerns about the types of contamination she was addressing. She had grown accustomed to the usual wear and tear of homes, everyday spills, and routine household messes. However, during recent weeks, she'd begun encountering cleaning situations that displayed characteristics that were activating investigative instincts she'd assumed had been left behind with her career change. Several properties were showing contamination patterns that Ruby immediately recognized from her laboratory experience as indicators of violent crime scenes rather than typical household cleaning challenges. The stain patterns, chemical residues, and damage characteristics suggested these homes had been locations where significant violence had occurred, far beyond the scope of normal domestic accidents. She noticed blood spatter consistent with high-velocity impacts, areas of repeated scrubbing that indicated deliberate attempts to remove traces, and unusual chemical odors that hinted at professional-grade cleaning agents. More concerning was evidence that these properties had been subjected to systematic cleaning attempts using methods that suggested the residents understood they were trying to eliminate forensic evidence rather than simply restore cleanliness. The chemical combinations, cleaning sequences, and surface treatments showed professional knowledge of evidence destruction techniques. Ruby observed patterns such as targeted removal of blood traces from high-contact surfaces, repeated attempts to sanitize specific areas while leaving others untouched, and the use of cleaning agents in combinations that masked underlying residues. These details, subtle to the untrained, confirmed to Ruby that she was encountering properties where deliberate concealment of criminal activity had occurred. Ruby's 12 years of forensic analysis had taught her to distinguish between accidental contamination and deliberate evidence tampering, and the situations she was encountering clearly fell into the latter category. Multiple properties showed signs of organized cleanup efforts designed to eliminate DNA evidence, blood traces, and other physical indicators that could link locations to violent crimes. The timing and coordination of these cleaning assignments also raised concerns. Ruby was being scheduled to clean these properties at intervals that suggested systematic maintenance rather than routine household cleaning, and her supervisors were providing specific instructions about cleaning protocols that seemed designed to ensure complete elimination of any trace evidence. Most significantly, the properties were located in different neighborhoods but showed consistent contamination patterns and cleanup requirements that indicated they were connected through organized criminal activity rather than isolated incidents. Ruby's forensic training had exposed her to numerous cases where criminals used professional cleaning services to sanitize crime scenes, and the evidence she was encountering matched operational methods used by organized crime enterprises that needed to eliminate physical evidence while maintaining the appearance of legitimate property maintenance. Ruby began documenting the forensic evidence she was encountering while maintaining her professional cleaning duties, applying analytical skills that had been central to her laboratory work but adapting them to civilian circumstances that required careful discretion to avoid alerting potential criminals to law enforcement interest. The contamination evidence was becoming undeniable. Multiple properties showed blood residue patterns consistent with violent assaults, DNA trace evidence indicating multiple individuals had been present during criminal activities, and chemical residues suggesting attempts to dissolve or neutralize biological evidence. More sophisticated was the apparent coordination between properties that suggested systematic crime scene management rather than individual cleanup efforts. These locations were being maintained according to protocols that demonstrated professional understanding of forensic science and evidence elimination techniques. The cleaning assignments Ruby was receiving also followed patterns that her laboratory experience had taught her to associate with organized criminal operations. Properties were scheduled for intensive cleaning following specific time intervals, certain areas were prioritized for particular attention, and cleaning protocols were designed to address the exact types of contamination that would result from violent crimes. Ruby's forensic background had exposed her to numerous investigations where criminal organizations used legitimate businesses to provide crime scene cleanup services, and the evidence she was gathering suggested her cleaning company had been infiltrated or established specifically to support systematic evidence destruction operations. The geographic distribution of affected properties also indicated organizational rather than coincidental criminal activity. The locations formed patterns that suggested territorial control, operational bases, or systematic use of residential properties for criminal activities that required regular evidence elimination. Most troubling was the volume and frequency of properties requiring forensic-level cleanup, suggesting multiple violent crimes occurring with regularity that indicated organized criminal enterprise rather than isolated violent incidents. Ruby realized she was encountering systematic crime scene cleanup operations that required immediate law enforcement intervention. Her 12 years of forensic laboratory experience had taught her both the legal obligations and proper procedures for reporting evidence tampering while preserving the physical evidence needed for criminal investigations. Her first concern was public safety. The evidence patterns she was analyzing suggested multiple violent crimes, and the systematic nature of evidence destruction indicated ongoing criminal activity that posed continued threats to community safety. This is Ruby Martinez, former police forensic lab technician, badge number 2491, retired 2021, she said when connected to the Miami Police Detective Division. I have systematic crime scene cleanup operations through my civilian cleaning employment. Multiple violent crime indicators, organized evidence destruction, probable criminal enterprise. The response from law enforcement was immediate and comprehensive. Detective Carlos Rodriguez coordinated with Ruby within hours, recognizing both the significance of her observations and the unique expertise she could provide for understanding evidence destruction methods and crime scene analysis. Ruby, your forensic background makes you invaluable for this investigation, Detective Rodriguez explained during their secure briefing. We need someone with your expertise who has direct access to the crime scenes and can help us understand how this criminal network operates while preserving evidence for prosecution. Working with active detectives, Ruby helped analyze what appeared to be a comprehensive crime scene cleanup operation that serviced multiple violent criminal organizations throughout Miami while using legitimate cleaning services as cover for systematic evidence destruction. Your observations suggest this network has been operating for over 18 months, Detective Rodriguez told Ruby during their case planning. The sophistication of evidence destruction and the volume of crime scene indicators suggests this is supporting major criminal organizations involved in significant violent crime. Ruby found herself continuing her cleaning assignments while simultaneously serving as an undercover asset for law enforcement investigating the evidence destruction network. Her legitimate employment provided perfect cover for preserving and analyzing criminal evidence, while her forensic expertise enabled her to gather intelligence that untrained investigators might miss. Your position gives us unprecedented access to crime scenes and physical evidence from multiple violent crimes, Detective Rodriguez explained. We need someone who can properly preserve evidence, analyze destruction methods, and help us build comprehensive cases against the criminal organizations using these cleanup services. The evidence preservation phase required Ruby to balance routine cleaning duties with systematic collection and analysis of forensic evidence while building detailed profiles of the criminal network's methods and scope. Her laboratory training enabled her to handle evidence properly while gathering intelligence without alerting criminals to law enforcement interests. Ruby's analysis revealed that the Miami crime scene cleanup operation was more extensive than initially suspected. The criminal network was servicing multiple violent crime organizations, had developed sophisticated protocols for destroying different types of evidence, and was processing physical evidence from crimes throughout the metropolitan area. They're eliminating evidence from approximately 20 violent crimes per month, Ruby reported to the investigation team. This includes murders, assaults, kidnappings, and other violent offenses that would otherwise have physical evidence linking perpetrators to their crimes. Her forensic expertise proved invaluable for understanding how the network maintained operational security while providing evidence destruction services, enabling law enforcement to develop comprehensive cases against both the cleanup organization and the criminal enterprises they served. The investigation culminated with coordinated raids across multiple locations, targeting both the crime scene cleanup network and the violent criminal organizations that had been using their services. The operations represented one of Miami's largest organized crime investigations involving evidence tampering and systematic crime scene cleanup. Outstanding work, Detective Rodriguez told Ruby as the arrests unfolded. Your expertise and access enabled us to understand criminal networks in ways that would have been impossible without someone who could recognize forensic evidence patterns and preserve them for prosecution. The operations resulted in 51 arrests involving multiple criminal organizations, the recovery of physical evidence linking suspects to over 80 violent crimes, and the disruption of evidence destruction services that had been enabling violent criminals to avoid prosecution for years. The investigation also led to the solution of numerous cold cases where physical evidence had been thought destroyed, demonstrating the impact that systematic evidence tampering had been having on criminal justice outcomes throughout the region. Your recognition of the crime scene cleanup patterns probably enabled the prosecution of dozens of violent criminals who would have escaped justice, Detective Rodriguez explained during case closure. Without proper identification and preservation of tampered evidence, these criminal organizations would have continued operating while their crimes went unsolved. The case received regional attention as an example of successful evidence tampering investigation, but Ruby declined most interview requests. The cleaning technician who'd recognized systematic forensic evidence destruction preferred to focus on returning to legitimate cleaning work while maintaining awareness of potential evidence tampering indicators. Ruby returned to routine house cleaning with new appreciation for how her forensic background continued to serve criminal justice in unexpected ways. Her employment had been cleared of any wrongdoing, and her cooperation had helped solve numerous violent crimes while disrupting criminal organizations that had been evading prosecution through systematic evidence destruction. 6 months later, Ruby had consulted on 4 additional evidence tampering cases, helped train cleaning professionals in recognizing potential forensic evidence, and had become a regional resource for evidence preservation and criminal investigation support. People think house cleaning is just about making homes look good, Ruby explained to a conference of forensic professionals. But we're also positioned to recognize when contamination might be evidence of violent crimes, and we have professional obligations to preserve that evidence for justice. Her experience had demonstrated that crime scene cleanup often operated through ordinary service businesses where evidence destruction occurred alongside legitimate cleaning activities, requiring trained recognition to distinguish between normal cleaning and systematic evidence tampering. 2 years after the original investigation, Ruby had helped identify evidence from 15 additional violent crime cases while continuing her cleaning career. Her forensic expertise, combined with her legitimate access to residential properties that might contain evidence, made her valuable for supporting criminal justice efforts. Her secure phone buzzed with a message from Detective Rodriguez, suspected evidence tampering operation in Orlando. Similar cleanup patterns to your Miami case. Could use your expertise on forensic evidence analysis. Ruby looked at her cleaning supplies, then at the community she served and protected through both professional house cleaning and forensic awareness. "I'll review the evidence after my last house today," she texted back. Some careers never completely end, they just find new applications and new ways to serve justice. Ruby Martinez, former police forensic laboratory technician, current guardian of evidence integrity and criminal justice support, continued her work one cleaned house at a time, one preserved piece of evidence at a time, proving that the most important criminal investigations often depend on people who know how to recognize physical evidence when criminals try to destroy it. Sometimes the most crucial forensic discoveries happen during routine house cleaning, by people who understand the difference between normal contamination and systematic attempts to eliminate evidence of violent crimes that must be preserved for justice. Have you ever encountered contamination or damage in your work that seems suspicious or potentially connected to criminal activity? Share your observations in the comments below, and tell us what city you're watching from today. That if this story of hidden forensic expertise and criminal justice support inspired you, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Don't miss the compelling stories appearing on your screen right now. Click to discover more tales of everyday heroes who use their backgrounds to protect communities in unexpected ways, because sometimes the most important evidence preservation begins when someone knows how to recognize systematic attempts to destroy physical proof of violent crimes.
See you in the next videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe.